Welcome to the Town of the Reign of the Heavens 8th broadcast. We have Stu, Tony, Keith, and Boxley on. Say hello, fellers.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Man, that was all together. Okay, first of all, let's dispel some rumors. How about we start there? There's a rumor going around that the Reign of the Heavens Society was founded by Franco Collins, a Jesuit priest. Okay, that's absolutely untrue. Franco Collins had nothing to do with the Reign of the Heavens Society. I know because I'm the one that started it, and I'm the one that wrote the Constitution on it. And Franco Collins said it was nowhere to be found. So this article was on the Maine Republic. What do they call themselves? Maine Republic Mail.
I don't have it in front of me, but that sounds right.
Yeah, Maine Republic Mail. Apparently they're a propaganda newspaper or just a website. I don't know what they are, but they're printing lies. I can tell you that right now. And there was another rumor here. But basically, if you can figure out, folks, that the Reign of the Heavens Society was not founded by Franco Collins, the rest of it was total crap too. So if the first lie starts out in the first sentence, then the rest of it is junk. You can't start out something that is completely falsehood. It's a complete fabrication, absolutely not true, nowhere near the truth. I know because in order to rediscover the Reign of the Heavens, which was a country, by the way, you had to be able to create a nation. And a nation we had already done before and formed it. So once you've done that, then you have a different understanding of the world. And when you have a different understanding of the world, you see it completely different on certain aspects of it. That you'll understand news, you'll understand international news, you'll understand how the United Nations operates, you'll understand how countries operate, how they speak to each other. You'll be able to pick out a fraud like that in a matter of seconds. Anything else, guys? Because you've been here and you've been part of this nation for a while, or the country.
Well, it seemed like that was quite an explanation on her part, and it seems like she was banking on, the bigger the lie, the easier it will be for people to believe. And, I mean, just like you said, right off the first sentence, that lie tells you the rest. There's no credibility with what she's saying.
Right. Okay, so the Reign of the Heavens Society was formed as a colony of the original Reign of the Heavens country. Now, the reason why the Catholics don't like the fact that the Reign of the Heavens country is there is because it exposes the 300-year lie by the Council of Nicaea. It exposes that. And they don't like it. So they're going to try to debunk that as much as they possibly can. They're going to try to keep people ignorant to it. And they know that the Scriptures reads two separate ways. One way, when you're looking at it from a religious point of view, it reads one way. If you read it from how it was originally intended, as far as a nation-building point of view, you completely understand it. It's not a hard book to understand, really. So that is a rumor. That's completely false. There's nothing real about that whole story. Now, we get into the people on about the United States of America. Now, the people with the United States of America are not claiming to be the federal government. Can everybody say, please tell them we're not declaring it?
We're not declaring that.
We're not declaring to be the federal government.
That's right.
We never declared to be the federal government and never declared to be the Postmaster General of the United States. Never declared any of it whatsoever. Where our timeline comes in is 1775, and then between that, the Revolutionary War, in 1781. which was the Articles of Confederation. And we had to shore up the chain of title there. Now, as far as the USPS today, it says, this is according to last month's report from the USPS Inspector General. It says here are some of the things that the Postal Service cannot do or have legally without a Board of Governors. Now, keep in mind that since the General Post Office was claimed in 2010, they have not had a Board of Governors. The USPS has not. It says find or appoint a Postmaster General or Deputy to set their pay. Approve a budget or financial statements, make capital expenditures or issue debt, set policy, establish or change postal rates, create and market new products like, say, drone delivery, have a long-term strategy, transmit the annual report of USPS to Congress, and appoint or remove the Inspector General. They can't do that without a Board of Governors. Now keep in mind, folks, we're not the federal government. The government of the United States of America is not the federal government. It's the national government. It's completely different.
Yeah, there's assertions here that fall along the lines of that we're attempting to claim that we are their government. No, we're not. They have no ties to us. This government is my government. I have an oath to it, but we're not their government. It's a government. By the way, it's a government. It's not the government. You could have multiple governments. So, just,
This was the funny part. We had done this before. We had put on, we published the money a long time ago, about a year and a half ago. How many publishings have we gone through, Tony? About 2 or 3?
I think more like 4.
Yeah, and this was the last one that we did with the legal tender. And all of a sudden, that one hit. Everybody saw that one for some reason. All the rest of them, nobody saw it. And all of a sudden, this one goes,
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, I have no idea. But that was the wildest thing about all this. Now, when speaking about a federal government, okay, we're saying there's a United States government. What we're saying is the United States government is on Manhattan Island, which is in our First in Time, First in Right document, and is proven. It has nothing to do with the States of the Union. The States of the Union have not had a national government since 1787 that was being operated or used. As a matter of fact, since there was no amendments to the Articles of Confederation, the Articles of Confederation literally did not recognize the Constitution of the United States. That happened to be born on Manhattan Island, if y'all follow what I'm saying. So, and I know Boxley knows about this. He knows all about the past and what happened back then. Okay. So that could lead us into the pledging system that everyone really needs to know about. And there's a pledging system in America that does not belong. This newspaper posted an international public notice on 11/26/2016 entitled, "Franklin D. Roosevelt was a self-proclaimed prophet." And by the way, he was. And so was, Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton was proclaimed a prophet. Believe it or not. And he was the one that started the Bank of New York Mellon on Manhattan Island. I'm telling you, the Dutch people have got this country so mixed up and confused, it's unbelievable. All right.
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We talked a little bit about the disinformation campaign possibilities last week.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff was going to be coming out, made up stories, people thinking that we're claiming to be a federal republic and all this other stuff. Our government never claimed that. That was all written by the other people. They started that rumor. We didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, all you have to really do is read our documentation. If you're too lazy to read your documentation, then, you know, there might not be any help for you. But, you know, none of these claims are written, memorialized in any type of documentation.
Yeah, if you want to know about federal government, all you got to do is read the history in 1610 in the Netherlands, when you got the reformators, where they're doing their campaign. They have remonstrance, and that's where you get the term remonstrance, which is a redress of grievances against the government for improperly usurping the rights of the people. And what they did was they'd hold a kangaroo court in the federal government back in 1617, and they beheaded the leader of
May 12th, 1619.
Yeah.
I'm reading your document right now.
And that's where you get the term federal government from. And that lets you know, because of the remonstrance, the history is well known because they beheaded the leader with a kangaroo court back then. So that's why they were so fearful of powerful central federal government in this new world. So the founding fathers and some of the true patriots understood that there should not be such a strong federal central government. And that's why in 1789, when they held that secret new constitutional meeting, which was only supposed to be an amendment to the original Articles of Confederation, and when they came out with a new document, they had gone beyond their scope of jurisdiction as delegates, and they locked the doors and put guns around the building and didn't allow any reporters or anybody else to go in. And when the meeting was finished and they came out with a new constitution beyond the scope and jurisdiction of their delegated powers, their meeting minutes were held secret for 50 years.
Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Don't they hold things for 50 years?
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, nothing has changed since 1610, the year 1610. This is all the same stuff over and over and over again. And a strong central government was the ideas of the Dutch, that were still allegiant to their king, their monarch and their government. And we're saying we're foreign to that.
So let's get into the pledging.
Let's go grab that.
The ancient art of pledging. Most people would be more familiar with the Pledge of Allegiance and taking an oath or an affirmation. But pledging is the original. And we talk about people in government. You will have people with these societies, and you have people that come out of these colleges, and we all know what happens to pledges in these Psi Beta Kappas into these colleges. They take these pledges and they make them do things weird so they can join their system.
Here's what Woodrow Wilson said about it. Very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property, that's you and your children, in a national system designed to keep track of the people that will operate under the ancient system of pledging. By such methodology, can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as a chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer being able to work and earn a living. Does everybody know that it's very difficult to do a lot of things without a driver's license, guys? And that is backed up in Title 42, Section 666. That particular statement right there. Title 42, Section 666. Go read it. They will be our chattel's property, and they will hold the security interest over them forever by operation of the law merchant. Under the scheme of secured transactions, Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivering the bills of lading and birth certificate to us, will be rendered a bankrupt and insolvent secured by their pledges. So they will be stripped of their rights and given a commercial value designed to make us profit, and they will be none the wiser. It says, for not one man in a million could ever figure our plans. And if by accident one or two should figure it out, we have in our arsenal plausible deniability. After all, this is the only logical way to fund government, by floating liens and debts to the registrants in the form of benefits and privileges. This will inevitably reap huge profits beyond our wildest expectations and leaves every American a contributor to this fraud, which we will call the social insurance. Without realizing it, every American will unknowingly be our servant, however begrudgingly. The people will become helpless and without any hope for their redemption, and we will empty the high office president of our dummy corporation to foment this plan against America. This Colonel Edward Mandell House is attributed, but unverified, with giving a very detailed outline of the plans to be implemented to enslave the American people, as he stated in a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson in 1913 and 1921. Now, keep in mind, right after this, okay, so if people say, well, did he really say this? Did Woodrow Wilson, did this really happen? Well, right after this, in 1933, May 7th, what's his name? Oh, shoot. Roosevelt came out with, I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people. Let us all here assembled constitute ourselves prophets of a new order of confidence and of courage. This is more than a political campaign. It's a call to arms. Give me your help, not to win votes alone, but to win in this crusade to restore America to its own people. Now, that would be on behalf of the Dutch, because everything the Dutch see, they covet. I've known Dutch people. They're that way, all of them. They believe this country belongs to them.
Right. He established the timeline, and his quote was, I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people. Let us all here assembled constitute ourselves prophets of a new order of competence and of courage. This is more than a political campaign. It is a call to arms. Give me your help, not to win votes alone, but to win in this crusade to restore America to its own people. End quote. Now, there's key words in there.
Absolutely, there's key words, because to its own people, where are all the securities now? They're in the Bank of New York Mellon. Where's the Bank of New York Mellon? Manhattan Island. What is Manhattan Island? It's owned by the Dutch. So what they're saying is all the property that was basically stolen and by the Bank of New York Mellon, it is where it belongs. Because remember, everything belongs to them. No matter what you do, everything belongs to them. You could have the nicest jacket in the world that you worked your butt off for, and it belongs to them.
Right. You alluded to the birth certificates. These are unwilling pledges signed by witnesses, which is everybody thinks they're just getting themselves a declaration of a newborn, when actually what it is you're signing over the fictitious surety. This, if you look up fictitious surety in Black's Law Dictionary, you'll find out that it goes back early in the court systems with the old John Doe and Jane Doe system.
Which we found proof does apply today. They have John Doe, Jane Doe cases.
Exactly. It's called
that
fictitious
they
surety.
On top of other cases.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's all pre-written, pre-arranged. So all they do is they put in the fictitious surety name, and that's where you get your trading on the stock market.
Right, and most people, when we come out with since we just come out with the Continental Dollar, and by the way, the latest version of it, let's put it that way, we are looking for exchangers, so you might want to get a hold of the Treasury at generalpostoffice.international. And we'll talk about the GPEX site here in just a minute, but we have a couple of more cases on this, proving that it's actually happening today. It says, third, there's a Christian woman who gets classified as a non-person. She doesn't want the chip in her driver's license, so she starts fighting it. And they classify her as a non-person. They've also made it almost impossible for her to get any type of services whatsoever, which proves what was said by Wilson. And there was another one where there was Sheriff Baker of Colorado admits taking a pledge of allegiance to the law of Colorado. He does not state that he has an oath of office. So he's taking a pledge. He takes a pledge of allegiance to the law of Colorado. Now, does it make any sense, guys? Why would you pledge allegiance to a law and not the state of Colorado itself? And that's how it was stated, that he had pledged allegiance to the law of Colorado.
Well, you've got the commoners taking pledge of allegiance to a flag.
True. And that pledge of allegiance.
I mean,
it never made any damn sense whatsoever. Even if I was growing up, it never made any sense to me.
And
this is
whose flag is it?
This is what we want to say. This is nothing new. This same type of progress, and they obviously knew that they were doing something wrong, because only a guilty conscience would say, it says every American contributor to this fraud. So what they wanted to do was get rid of all the people that were witnesses against them. Let's say, well, you did it too, okay? And there was another, for not one man in a million could ever figure out our plans, and if by accident one or two should figure it out, we have our arsenal plausible deniability. So you obviously know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, well, Colonel House, like the rest of them, they changed their names. Barack Obama's not his real name. Ulysses S. Grant's not his real name.
Bush.
Right. They change the name all the time. And he's not even a colonel. So, but he was given that title by some governor in Texas, and he's been behind the scenes a lot, and he started his career in Texas helping people get elected, and he's running things from the back room. As a matter of fact, he was in a hotel across the street from the White House in Washington, D.C. for many years, running the White House from across the street. So that tells you about House. He's one of those people that does not want to be in the limelight where everybody knows who his face is and what his name is and what he does. He works in the shadows.
Well, at least he didn't have to drive.
Right? He just crossed the street.
Just crossed the street. So he was eco-friendly. He didn't want to spend any gas money.
Yeah, and I think just to reach out to some of the listeners as you get exposed to this stuff, we understand the layers of illusion are vast. Everywhere you turn, you're going to uncover, or potentially uncover, depending on how well you research, illusion. And typically, the formula is basically they flip it into the exact opposite. So hang in there. And I'm trying to come up with some words of encouragement so people don't leap out windows and stuff hearing some of this stuff. But everything will be okay. We've got the blood moon.
That's right. We were going to talk about that because people you wouldn't believe some of the responses or the comments we get. And we get some of the worst comments between some men between 45 and 70. And they're the worst comments you could possibly ever imagine. They're the most subjective, oppressive type comments. And we get them from those kind of guys about that time, about that age. We have no idea why. It's like they walk around and they just, yeah, you suck, But it says started out a separate corporation. Okay, because you had Boxley, you had that. I'm looking at my list here. You had that separate corporation from human beings, and that actually brought something up because when I first started this in 2010, the plan was, and this was not necessarily all from me. This was coming some from the people that I was working with that were in the Navy. And they said the plan was to separate the people from the corporations. They wanted to separate the United States from the United States of America, which means they wanted to separate the Dutch from the rest of the people. That was what the original plan was. Now, I don't know if it seems to be working that way now. And with the Continental Dollar, we're hoping that the states will go back to their original constitutions and all their original charters, since we're realigning that timeline. But what the future may come about. But the blood moon thing. Okay, everybody has read the Declaration of Independence, and it says they're going to natural law. Okay, the blood moon thing has nothing to do with worship. So we've had people come out, oh, you're worshiping Saturn and all this other stuff. It's really bad. But a lot of those beliefs are put out there so people won't understand, or they'll never establish anything. They do it. They keep that blood moon information from you so that you will always be a serf. You will always be a subject. You will always be obedient. You will always have authorities. You will always have people over you. It's done that way, and they use your prejudices and your hatred and everything you could possibly imagine. Oh, and by the way, the guys between 45 and 70, and there's mainly white men, they get their feelings hurt the worst. I mean, it's just really mad. One got all upset because we didn't get to his comment right away and publish it. You suck, you're this, you're that. You ignored your comments. And no, we just haven't gotten to it yet, and didn't move, as quickly as he wanted to. So the blood moon thing is a timeline, folks. It's how things are established and how they've been established. And the New Testament is your guide, by the way, on how things are established. And it's established every 33 years and 3 days. That's why, Yahushua was 33, and they make mention of it quite a bit, and then they make mention of it as he was crucified on the blood moon. It's giving you hints on how things are established.
Right, the 3 days.
Mm-hmm. It's basically, you can look at it as an exclamation point. If you want to establish something, or you issue a proclamation or something along those lines, you do it bumping up against the blood moon, and that is what is referred to as sealing it in blood. Shorthand,
Yeah, they have a record number of moon events this year, by the way.
Yeah, and additionally, we should bring up and remind folks that a lot of history is oral. So you don't necessarily have a lot of this stuff written down. So what do? You make reference to natural events. You make reference to, oh yeah, my son was born on the blizzard that destroyed the church. As an example, when you lack written documentation. So the blood moon is a natural spin-off to a reference point in people's lifetimes.
Yeah, if you want to use a reference point, also as a good example would be 911. Everybody knows that's the emergency phone number to call. And there you go. What happened on 911?
Exactly. Excellent example.
Right. So just keep in mind, guys, that that's natural law. That has nothing to do with wickedness, evil people. Nobody's worshiping Saturn or Venus. Nobody's worshiping anything. It's just that was the timeline. And that is what happened. And those are the rules. And that is natural law that's written in the Declaration of Independence of 1776. They knew about it. There were many that knew about it at the time.
Well, more then knew about it than today.
Absolutely. So all that happened was that at that time, this was back in the last one. There's 4 events that happened during that time. The Pope came over, and Francis, he tried to take over as father of families. He tried to establish a private agreement with Obama and have everybody else subject to it. Didn't happen. He tried to set up his New World Order over here. It didn't work. By setting his butt on the throne of the Most High, that didn't work. All of it. A lot happened during that week. It started, I believe, on Tuesday and ended on Sunday evening. So if you go to the reignoftheheavens.com, which, by the way, is a country and not a freaking cult, and and you'll see where if you put in Blood Moon, it'll show you what happened. And we had quite a few things that happened that week. It was interesting, though. It was a very interesting time. And
that was the first.
How you established
that was the first time Congress recognized him as an announcement as the Holy See as well.
Right.
And if you go back into the history of Pope Francis, why he got that name, you go back to Francis of Assisi, and that's where you got your Venetian maritime, Roman law, and your maritime law mixed together with ecclesiastical law. So they combined all 3 laws, and they threw the holy ring into the water and declared that he owned the universe, the earth, the sky, and the land, and everything in between. He declared he owned everything. And they combined Roman, maritime, and Venetian law with the ecclesiastical. And that was from the writings of the Dumb Ox, which was one of the persons that palled around with the groups of Pope Innocent. What a name. Pope Innocent my butt.
Well, that's why he picked the name, right?
That's the most guilty guy in the room, man. He calls himself, I'm innocent, Pope Innocent. He must have done that so that everybody that talks to him automatically would not witness against him. Pope Innocent did this. Well, you just called me innocent, so what are you talking about?
Yeah, come to find out, my bloodline goes back to the monks of Boxley Abbey, and they were followers of Assisi, and Francis of Assisi was the only one that was against taking money and breaking contracts and stealing land. So anytime they would stand against the Pope and say, you can't be taking this land, you can't be breaking contracts like this, he would burn them at the stake or have them quarter-horsed and other horrible things done to these monks because they would stand against the Pope. So pretty soon the word got out, don't you say anything bad about what the Pope does because he'll have you killed.
Well, we'll definitely watch out for you, Boxley. We'll watch. It runs in the blood, man. I know. What do we have here? Okay. So, whenever we mention the heavens demand it, guys, no one's worshiping Saturn, so don't worry about that. Nothing happening. We're just going by natural law, or nature's law. What else was? GPEX has a new site called. We use it kind of like a Twitter alternative, and it's generalpostexchange.org. And when you go over there, you can take a look. It works exactly like Twitter, but it also has a MySpace in it and possible Facebook. But it's more of a Twitter. You have followers and friends and that kind of thing. But it's an alternative for Twitter. If people get kicked off of there, they can go over there to generalpostexchange.org and sign up. It's just a GPEX site. We just we approve the account, and you can take a look. Doesn't hurt. And what else did we have?
That is,
another thing. What's that?
I was just going to say, and there's a lot less censorship there.
Well, in
Absolutely.
addition, there's also several tools for everyone to customize their own site how they like.
By the way, can we speculate here? Just since you brought up the Twitter thing, recently, as of this recording, the last week or so, there's been a lot of this emphasis in the media of fake news, and it appears that they're using that to justify pulling, social interaction, commentary among the social media. If we speculate a little, there's perhaps, several reasons that they're doing this. I'm putting forth one possibility is that to go along with what we've been talking about, that they're going to begin acknowledging more and more that they're a corporation, and ultimately they'll turn around and say, hey, we can censor anybody that's on Twitter, anybody that's on Facebook, because we've reclassified these things as corporate interoffice memo bulletin board type things. They'll reclassify them. So it's not, I don't think it's going to be too much of a surprise to see something like that develop over this next 6 months or so. From my perspective.
Whenever you read a Pizzagate story, the first thing you do is you get in your car with your rifle and you run over there in your car and you jump out with your rifle and you take shots at the pizza building. That's the only way to react to a news story is to get your rifle and go shoot at a pizza building, because you want to free the children that are being attacked inside. That story's so full of holes. Come on, people. Can't you smell the false flag? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Yeah, exactly.
That was serious to them. That was a serious story, man. They also don't like the fact that we were talking about a pledging system has been put in. You can also pledge yourself out. So if you want to know
that's
about
a good.
That, if you want to know more about
that's a good detail. That's a good detail not to forget.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
It's called free will.
Secretary. Email the secretary at Secretary of State at the United States of America 1781.com. That's the United States of America 1781.com. And notice that the domain name does not say federal government. So there you are. No one's claiming to be a federal government. So, and I don't think there are 4 other folks that are trying to claim they are too. I think the Republic is. One of the Republic of the United States, I think they're trying to do that, but we have nothing to do with them. But at any rate,
no. The reality is our documents are out there public. We're not in a position to be misleading or hiding anything. All our stuff is out in the public.
Right.
So it's accessible. You can read it. I understand that the populace is jaded with propaganda, decades and decades of propaganda that they're aware of, on top of the propaganda that they weren't aware of. But it's as easy, to dispute the claims made against us or denying particular things have occurred. It's as easy as looking at our documentation and seeing shipping receipts and things like that. Go ahead.
Right. See, when the Reign of the Heavens was claimed, there was also an international profile that was created, which Franco Collins didn't write. I did, personally. And that was when the claim was made to that country to begin, colonization over here in the Reign of the Heavens Society and stuff like that. So everybody could enjoy the truth, by the way. That was sent to the Bureau on Private International Law at The Hague. And we waited 6 months on that, and waited for anybody, because when it goes there, it goes all over the world. Everybody's noticed that the country's been claimed. So
and didn't it also include an actual survey and a map of where the Reign of the Heavens is?
Yes. And the history of it.
Yep.
So we brought it here so that anybody that became or claimed a nationality within the United States of America, their chain of title would go all the way back to Adam and Eve through Isaiah. We were doing it to clean up the chain of title.
Exactly, and that's the proper way to do it. Gentlemen, I have to go to work.
This whole thing, yeah, okay. I know you do. So I was looking at the time. I know you got to get moving. Thanks for coming by, and thanks for talking to us.
Anytime.
Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome. God bless you all.
See you. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So that's where we are there. That was the reason for all that. It was to bring in the chain of title through Isaiah and then all the way back to Adam and Eve into the creation itself. So that was the purpose. And it had nothing to do with the Jesuits. It had nothing to do with the Vatican. We didn't even mention the Vatican. But, that's okay. The whole world's about them, right? Every time you mention something or say something about history, it has to do something with them.
Yeah, they throw everything at the wall. Jesuit, Illuminati, the works.
Okay, so we have, we just did set up a bulletin board, and that's over at the General Post Exchange.org site. And that's checked regularly, so if anybody joins, we will get we will approve your account. This just takes time. Because we're not going to sit and watch it all day. You check it about 2 or 3 times a day. And like I said, if you want to pledge out, you can do that. And folks, just stop listening to the propaganda. It's all crap. If you want to know something about the Reign of the Town of the Reign of the Heavens, you want to know something about the Reign of the Heavens, if you want to know something about the Reign of the Heavens, go to the Reign of Heaven Society Temple. If you want to know something about the government, go to the Secretary of State. If you want to know something about the Town of the Reign of the Heavens, go to the Reign of the Heaven Society Temple, because it's under trusteeship with the Society Board at the moment. So the Sask and everybody else, they have no clue what they're talking about. They have no clue what they're doing. They're not even a part of it. They've never been a part of it. And if you see some organization called Reign of Heavens, that has nothing to do with us. That was the cabal trying to steal the Reign of the Heavens.
Yeah, don't forget it.
By cabal members. And we can name those cabal members, by the way. What's that?
Yeah, I believe our very first show, radio broadcast, we're talking about style of names and how important it is to have the correct style, spelling, all of that. And so when you see anything other than the Reign of the Heavens, it's not the same entity.
It's like not the same thing, right? So
right.
Exactly. When you see Reign of Heaven, that was started by a cabal member, and those cabal members were trying to find a place that they could go and gain immunity for their crimes. They know what it is. Go ahead.
And then you can easily begin to see how people use that twist on words to hide or defraud people by just simply changing the entity. And if you're not paying attention to that, you can easily get sucked into that spoon-fed information and run with it. And especially if you don't do your own research and try to verify what it is that these people are putting out.
We even went after the individual that was putting that kind of crap out, and they were just despiteful, hateful, because that's what cabal does. That's what all those folks do, and it's the same people all the time.
Well, creating a new world order is a difficult task. They're going to have to cheat. That's the way it is. And the name reference, isn't that part of the dilemma that it seems the American populace is suffering from with the United States of America, United States of America, and United States? They can't seem to wrap their mind around the fact that those are three different entities.
Exactly. They just can't get that. It just completely boggles the mind, and they can't keep it straight. And they think that United States of America, or the United States of America, 1789, that was it. That was the only thing. And that wasn't it. Not even a country. It doesn't even have a president. We talked about it last week. It was never a country.
Yes, we did.
But they're going to keep going, guys. And just remember, we're probably not going to answer any more of that junk. This will probably be the last time we even address that issue, because it's just really a moot point at this time. We have a lot more important things to worry about.
Yep.
And a lot more important things to do. So for us to sit here and keep squabbling over this and that and the other thing, it's really a non-issue at this point. The truth came out in the news, in the newspaper. The truth is out. It is what it is. If anybody understands international law and the law of nations, and they understand that certain oaths and things like that make a difference. It's a huge difference, and you can't just willy-nilly just sign paperwork and not think that what you're doing could possibly exile you. You have no idea. You have to be extremely careful, because it takes a while to fix an exile. When you sign this or sign that, you have to go back through and say, okay, this is where you are right now in international law and the law of nations, and now we have to fix it here, here, and here. And some people get extremely, impatient, because right now we've got a guy that's calling himself a prince. Well, does he know that if he does a resident declaration here, he can't be a prince anymore? He's actually exiling himself from his former status, so he doesn't. Princes don't claim residency, and we've had quite a few of those, haven't we, Tony?
Yep, sure have.
Yeah, that we've had to explain to them, you can't do that. Or do you understand that you're giving up your belief of your title? I mean, I think there's a bunch of people that keep coming over that have the last name of Bey, B-E-Y. Well, those folks are a part of Islam. So what they don't understand is that when they declare residency with this government and with the United States of America, they're literally abandoning Islam. They're moving from one nation to another. Once we explain that to them, they're out the door.
Quick.
Yeah. We're not a company, guys. This is a real country. So there's things that you have to be very specific about and very careful about. So if someone comes in and it seems like we're moving pretty slow, that's a lot of the reasons, because we don't want to make mistakes, and we formulate a process in some of the cases that are more difficult to fix the problems and get them back to where they need to be, because of all the guru paperwork they did before they got here. Now, some people say, well, I'm a state American national. Okay, that's no problem. Y'all have a government there? Well, no. No, what you have is a corporation there from the United States. So they're not going to recognize your state national status. Plus, you don't have a government there that recognizes it. So how can one individual, independent guy, come in and say, here, I'm going to do this, and he doesn't have a government established to recognize it? So that government, being his representatives, can speak to other governments, their representatives, and get it recognized for them. The time is over for the single desk guru to sit there and come up with processes and crap like that. All that's got to go. Because it does no one any good.
I agree. Because they're spoon-fed misinformation by the powers that be anyways.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, that when that main alert thing, at the bottom I read somewhere it was talking about James McBride being valid. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
That goes to show you that what we said, or what was said in the newspaper, was absolutely correct, because James McBride was a Catholic. But believe me, folks, they called the Vatican. And I believe we called the Vatican.
That's right.
They said they didn't know who he was.
Never heard of him.
They completely denied his existence. That no one ever sent him of the 7 keys. And no one, the Postmaster General of North America and all that, there was no such thing. None of that existed. And it wasn't the mean bad guys that were saying the evil federal, FBI was going after him and just to stop this because they were afraid of him and all. It has nothing to do with it. The guy was ripping people off. He had a salad bar of freaking claims. And he did it over and over again. That wasn't the first time. It was like 4 times that he did that. That he would make all these claims, make a bunch of money and everything else, and believe me, we're not making a whole lot of money here. So who can they get a hold of to become an exchanger if you want to use the Exchange Continental Dollar? Tony, you got an email?
Yes, they can email the Office of the Treasury at treasury@generalpostoffice.international.
Okay. And if they want to get a hold of the governor?
Let's see. Geez, that would be governor at generalpostoffice.international. Governor at generalpostoffice.international.
Okay. I believe that's it. Thanks for... we got another week under our belt, guys, so I guess we'll see everybody next week. I, at this moment, have no idea what we're going to be talking about next week. So, does anybody else?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we didn't cover tonight?
Actually, I think we were going to go over the Declaration of Human Rights and going over how people's human rights are being violated, and they don't even know how. So we're going to explain to them.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah, because somebody suggested that on Bitrix.
Yep.
I remember that now. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll go over different scenarios.
Yeah, that sounds like something we can sink our teeth into.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for listening to the Town of the Reign of the Heavens broadcast number 8, and we'll see you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.